Thank you for tuning into another episode of Surviving to Thriving, where we do not just survive, but we thrive in every area of our life. Today I'm going to share a dream I had with you. Prophetic dream, I believe. A dream that was actually showing me what's really going on and kind of insight on what to do about it. So I'm going to start with the dream. So it starts with myself and children flying peacefully on a plane, and all of a sudden, as an announcement comes over airways, we have to turn around. They're telling us we have to turn around and land, or they will shoot down the plane. I feel the plane turn around. There is a little bit of terror in me as the plane is turning around. More instructions come over the airway. When we land, we'll change planes quickly. So obviously, this is a dangerous situation. As we are changing planes, there are guys on golf carts behind the fence that start shooting at us. They're on the terminal. They're driving, and there's some that are just parked there because they're close enough. But it's like an action movie. I'm hesitant to go out on the tarmac. Then something comes over me. Faith, great faith. I remember the scriptures that talk about being protected. With little thought, I decide to make a run for it with both my children on either hip. When they see me running, they all stop shooting at other things and turn their attention solely onto me and start shooting at me. Then crossfire begins. This means there are unseen people. I don't see them. I just see that there is gunfire coming from behind me, and as if to cover me and to cover my children as I'm making a bowl for it. We're in the middle of this, and this is forcing me to have even more faith as I run heavily to board the plane. We are untouched. I get on the plane with my children, and then I wake up. I did research. I researched what this all means, and from a spiritual standpoint. And flying in the air means freedom has been achieved. And the fact that we're being hijacked, so to speak, to land, to turn around, kind of like Pharaoh when he went after the Israelites, shows the immense manipulation, control, and attempt to take back that achieved freedom. Boarding a flight usually reflects a desire for freedom in your waking life or a sense of empowerment, overcoming obstacles. And dreams of flying, which is what we were doing, we were in the air, you are rising above, signifying your ability, overcoming challenges, and rising above difficult situations. It shows you have the strength and resilience to conquer the barriers and achieve your goals. In essence, it means you are free. You've liberated yourself from things that were detrimental to your well-being. Hence, a dream such as this means that you have taken a giant leap to give yourself a life that you deserve. So when the plane was forced to land due to evil forces that were seeking to take that liberty away, it forced my faith. It forced me to get on the better plane, the plane that was not afraid to fly us out of there despite the threats. And it forced it to get me to a sure thing. This represents fortitude and faith over fear. The crossfire, the guns that were shooting at me and my children, were a power struggle, conflict in our waking lives. Guns shooting to cover us, they were defense and protection. They were having our back. Now, if it wasn't an actual person or a destiny team, it was Jehovah. It was angels protecting, okay? All right, so I want to look at some scriptures, and I want to talk about this. This scripture is Luke 4:16 through 30. And this scripture is shortly after Yeshua was tested in the wilderness for 40 days and then tempted by the devil himself to renounce his sovereignty and give it essentially to the enemy. He obviously passed. So he went to Nazareth, where he had been brought up, and on the Sabbath day he went into the synagogue, as was his custom. He stood up to read, and the scroll of the prophet Isaiah was handed to him. Unrolling it, he found the place where it is written, This is his mission statement. When you are in business, you learn that you have to have a mission statement that lets everyone know what you're about and what you're doing and why you're doing it. This is his announcement of his mission statement. This is his launching of his ministry. The Spirit of the Lord is on me because he has anointed me to proclaim good news to the poor. He sent me to proclaim freedom for the prisoners and recovery of sight for the blind, to set the oppressed free, to proclaim the year of the Lord's favor. Then he rolled up the scroll, gave it back to the attendant, and sat down. The eyes of everyone in the synagogue were fastened on him. He began by saying to them, "Today this scripture is fulfilled in your hearing." All spoke well of him and were amazed at the gracious words that came from his lips. "Isn't this Joseph's son?" they asked. Jesus said to them, "Surely you will quote this proverb to me, 'Physician, heal yourself,' and you will tell me, 'Do here in your hometown what we have heard that you did in Capernaum.'" That was when he turned the water to wine, his very first miracle, which he did not think he was supposed to do at that time because he hadn't gone through his testing yet. Truly, but his mother knew better. "Truly, I tell you," he continued, "no prophet is accepted in his hometown. I assure you that there were many widows in Israel in Elijah's time when the sky was shut for 3.5 years and there was a severe famine throughout the land. Yet Elijah was not sent to any of them, but to a widow in Zarephath in the region of Sidon. And there were many in Israel with leprosy in the time of Elisha the prophet. Yet not one of them was cleansed, only Naaman the Syrian." All the people in the synagogue were furious when they heard this. They got up, drove him out of the town, and took him to the brow of the hill on which the town was built in order to throw him off the cliff. So they literally had their hands on him. They were snatching him. They had him in their grip, okay? But he walked right through the crowd and went on his way. Why did he walk right through the crowd? He is supernatural. And it says the things that we do, the things that he does, we will do and more. So if he is supernatural, then we can actually have this. We can have this kind of supernatural ability. But I believe that he passed through the crowd for there were either three things that happened. One of three. Okay, either time stopped and he just walked right through them and they were just paused. Second, they were blinded and they could not see him, so he just walked on through. Or three, he was able to make himself invisible and pass through them. Because if they had their hands on him, they gripped him, they were in his hands, there's absolutely no physical way that he could have gotten out of it. But spiritually, he got out of it. He passed through the crowd and he was unharmed. That's the same thing with my dream. Passed through the crowd, passed through the gunfire, unharmed. Okay? That's the first scripture. Okay, the next one is John 8:48 through 59. Jesus claims about himself. The Jews answered him, "Aren't we right in saying that you're a Samaritan and demon-possessed?" "I'm not possessed by a demon," said Jesus, "but I honor my Father and you dishonor me. I'm not seeking glory for myself, but there is one who seeks it, and he is the judge. Very truly I tell you, whoever obeys my word will never see death." At this they exclaimed, "Now we know you are demon-possessed. Abraham died, and so did the prophets, yet you say that whoever obeys your word will never taste death. Are you greater than our father Abraham? He died, and so did the prophets. Who do you think you are?" Jesus replied, "If I glorify myself, my glory means nothing. My Father, whom you claim as your God, is the one who glorifies me. Though you do not know him, I know him. If I said I did not, I would be a liar like you, but I do know him and obey his word. Your father Abraham rejoiced at the thought of seeing my day. He saw it and was glad." "You are not 50 years old," they said to him, "and you have seen Abraham?" "Very truly I tell you," Jesus answered, "before Abraham was born, I am." At this, they picked up stones to stone him, but Jesus hid himself, slipping away from the temple grounds. Okay, now we can look at this in the physical, and we can say he hid in a temple. He hid wherever. He had his disciples with him at that time, unlike when he was dealing with the people in his hometown. It was just him, maybe one other disciple, but definitely wasn't the 11 that could easily help him escape. So we could look at it that way, hid himself, or we could look at it supernaturally, and he cloaked himself in invisibility, and he was not seen, and they could not find him. Or we could go another step further, and we could say something like metamorphosized, and he didn't look like himself as he went through the crowd. Okay, this is the kind of supernatural ability that is coming upon the children of Jehovah. this is what's headed. This is where we're headed. This is what we need to look forward to, okay? Because it creates an amazing protection against the enemy's tactics and the enemy's attempts to take your life, okay? Because I am telling you, enemy wants to take the lives of the chosen, the believers. It's a serious thing. And this is something that I read, or not read, but understood when writing out my dream and then rereading it, okay? Now we're going to go to Psalm 91, 11 through 12. I just want you to have an open mind about the possibility of it wasn't just some physical escape, but it was actually supernatural protection and help, like whenever I ran through the bullets. Okay,